Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. So I had to make some adjustments to the charts. The scenarios were already on the charts, but they were like the alternative scenarios. We first wanted to see if the price could hold the triangle pattern we've been looking at. That triangle, well, I think there was a triangle, but I think it turned out to be an internal B-wave triangle, which then obviously broke to the downside and could still extend. I will explain these scenarios now. Obviously, it's a busy day. Still wanted to give you another quick that's the coffee, another quick ETH update. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm fully committed yet to these scenarios. They might still change as new price data comes in. But my current perspective is that the bigger picture hasn't changed. White count is the preferred scenario, as it was before, but I think I shared it with you in the last few updates that I said, okay, if we don't break out directly to the upside, instead see much more downside movement, it's still holding support, but it's really come down too low for a reliable wave 4 of a smaller degree. So I said, look, it might get one more high in this third, then another 4, then another 5. But if we break below that, I think it was 2,800 level, and it invalidates the direct triangle breakout pattern to the upside, I have to assume that we're at least already in the larger degree fourth wave, and support is here around 2,460, 2,097, ideally not lower. So ideally the price would hold here. Ideally holds here for wave 4. No? Now, if we see any break below $2,097, it will become more likely that something else is playing out. Now, in this scenario, then this would take us to the yellow count, but let me just make a few more remarks in the white count. It's still a diagonal pattern to the upside, not an impulse. And I shared with you already in previous videos that, remember when Ether broke from an impulse into a diagonal pattern, and this made this chart much less clear. That was already many weeks ago. So we morphed from an impulse into a diagonal. I'm gonna look for other scenarios. So I'm gonna keep a very open mind. We have to do that because in any diagonal pattern, we have to keep an open mind. But what I really wanted to say is, if this really is a diagonal pattern, then we certainly have just reduced the bull market ideal targets from, I think it was 8 to 12 to sort of 5.7 to 8K pretty much, roughly. Yeah. So this has to do with the situation that we've got a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3. This could be a 4, and one more high is enough to wrap it all up. The 200% extension. I would always prefer a healthy wave 5, so might go really to 7.8 to 8K, but we will have to see. The minimum requirement would be to break above the third wave high and ideally get to the 1.786, but better, the 200% extension at $5,727. So that's the thing, what I said in the last video. If we only get one more high, it will have an impact on the bull market targets. Now, this is not absolute, right? Analysis is never set in stone. I have to say that as well. As new price data comes in, maybe something else comes up. I will definitely be very flexible here in the next few days. We always have to be if one scenario gets invalidated. We haven't had an invalidation for a while here on the ETH chart. But now, as the market makes a decision here, it is very fluid, the situation. So tomorrow things might look a little bit different, but for now there is no indication of a bounce to the upside yet. Now, the yellow count. What is the yellow count? The yellow count comes into play more and more if we start to break below 2,097, and also if we break below 1,790. This would then be a C wave of a triangle. And this would be the next best option to watch for a very frustrating pattern, which I also observe for Bitcoin as an alternative, but Bitcoin is still holding support up there. So in this scenario here, we have an A wave, we have a B wave, we have a C wave, a D wave, and an E wave. No, that D wave should be lower than B, but you know what I mean. It's just a triangle pattern, and it would over time reduce in volatility. And it could take another, I don't know, maybe another year of just sideways action. Well, the good news with that is, the bad news is it's bad for altcoins. I think I mentioned that already many months ago, that if we really get this triangle, it will crush altcoins because the hype isn't there. The hype isn't there. But the good news is it could give us a completely fresh fifth wave rally to the upside as soon as this wave 4 is done. I think this would be the good news. It would just be a bit boring than here. Sideways action would still be volatile to a degree. So we have to keep an open mind there. Let me know in the comments which pattern you prefer, or maybe you have a different idea. But I will definitely keep an open mind as to any changes here. So this direct move up with 2 more highs is, I mean, it's not technically invalidated, but it has become unlikely, really. So that is why we have to focus on this now. And preferred interpretation is now that we are, as I said, in a larger 4th wave. And again, what I wanted to explain is that, yeah, from this 12th, 13th of March high, we had an A wave down. This here was likely a triangle, A, B, C, D, E, and we broke down. And this could still go a little longer. If this is a triangle, just to give you an idea, again, I'm not sure if I'm fully committed to this, but the 100% extension, certainly another level to watch, points towards $2,300. I find this one, however, unreliable in this case because is it a triangle? You know, I could even say it's an A, W, X, Y, and it's an A, B, C, not a triangle. Then I would have to measure from a little higher. So don't necessarily expect it to go down to 2,300. That's the update about Ether. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.